So I made a very objective model to cover off what is the objectively and just overall best train line in Melbourne. It covers rolling stock, level crossings, frequency, travel times, and finally, the most important metric of all, which is number of Steam Rail Victoria tours in 2025. So I awarded points based on ranking. So first got 10 points, second got 7, third got 5th, fourth got 3 points, and then finally, if it met the criteria, for example, having express services or having steam rail journeys, it got just 1 point. This resulted in a total possible score of 70 for the objective score. To make it a little bit more fun though, I layered on a vibe score, which was out of 50. I didn't want it to, overrule the objective score, but I still wanted it to give some flavor to it. So it's basically, do I like the line? Do I have an opinion on the line? And does it have nice scenery? But you're not here to hear the how. You're here for the raw data and the why. So the overall top 5 might surprise you, but I think it's pretty reasonable. So we're gonna still be here for number 5, which is my 9-car Velocity King, the totally not suburban route that I included because fuck you. And yes, I did give it a vibe-based score based on number of Bunnings stores in Victoria because of my GOAT station with a Bunnings-oriented development, Tawny. Yes, it's Wyndham Vale. So it somehow manages a 20-minute or better frequency for most of the day with a pretty great travel time to the city and no level crossings. If it was electrified, the line would go pretty hard, but alas, it must stay in 5th. Now, number 4 is one that is carried very well by its vibe score, and who can blame me? I gave it the perfect 50 out of 50. It has the legendary run of Ferntree Gully through Upway, Tacoma, to Belgrave in the trees. It has to get the 50 out of 50, and it's actually up over there. It is the Belgrave line. Now, its objective metric score doesn't actually get a very good score, because funnily enough, during the days, outside of peak times, it gets a 30-minute frequency. On weekends, it gets a 20-minute frequency. Now, it also lacks in rolling stock, like the X-Trap. It's kind of mid. Like, it's better than, say, a Velocity, but it is still pretty mid. Overall, I think it deserves its spot, and it's a very respectable 4th place. Number 3 had to be on the list. It's got a decent, respectable number of steam rail services, the same number as our previous line. It's got the HCMT, it has good frequency, and of course, it has some pretty decent sky rails. It is, of course, Packed Ham, the best line in the southeast, because there's only like 3. So it had to be this one. I'm not putting Frankston up there. For number 2, I've come to Box Hill Beach, because the second best train line in Melbourne is one that goes to the beach and has a station with beach in the name. It is, of course, the station that has not just Newport, but the Newport Railway Museum, pretty fast travel time to the city, bunch of cute cafes, the beach, and a nice bridge that lets you observe trains. Yes, of course, it is the Williamstown line with its station Williamstown Beach, Box Hill Beach, Williamstown Beach. I'm funny. Please laugh. So, before I give you the sweet release of what is the number 1 best train line in Melbourne, I have to go through the bottom 3. Now, obviously, Stony Point was the bottom. It's not very good. But the next 3 after Stony Point that are better than Stony Point but worse than everything else are way more interesting. So the first one on the list is Glen Waverley. So the travel time, it's mid. The trains, they're X-Traps, kind of mid. Like, not bad, but not great. And it just has mid vibes. The one slight saving grace is that it does have the Glen at the end of it, so that's nice, but overall it is peak mid, so well deserved second to last place, ahead of Stony Point. Now, the implication here is that Melton is better than the Glen Waverley line, which it is, but only slightly. It has middling frequency, middling trains, and it just isn't quite as fast as the Wyndham Vale line. It's a wonderful sibling that is actually shockingly good. Now, it does make sense when you consider it's on the Ballarat line, it's not on the Geelong line. Yeah, it's going to have worse frequency, but it does also bring a weird win in that the number one train line has just as many steam rail tours as Melton at 6. So the next line after Melton is Upfield. Upfield is just, it's got too many level crossings. The travel time is kind of air. The trains are kind of air. Replace the Commange, honestly. Doesn't need to still be in service. It should be at Newport. But it's just the frequency and the level crossings that ultimately contribute to its pathetic score for a major line. So the other major thing that I have in my notes is it doesn't have any steam rail tours. Basically every other line has one, except Stony Point, but Stony Point is actually getting one later this year. Crazy, I know. So the reasoning is probably because there's nowhere to turn back easily without blocking the suburban services, considering that Upfield to Gowrie is single track and they don't want to go in the yard. Makes sense. But I have a Microsoft edged everyone enough. What is the single best line on the network? Now, it's not by that much when it comes to the overall score. When it comes to just the objective measures, it is pretty far ahead. But it is Sunbury. I did take the measuring point for its best bit as Water Gardens because it is basically the end of the line. Like Sunbury and Diggers Rest are not part of Melbourne unless you're a weirdo that thinks that a line on a map actually means that it's part of Melbourne. But it does have the best frequency tied with Frankston, which also has basically the exact same frequencies for the peak time if you include Cheltenham, and on the weekends up to Water Gardens, up to Frankston. It's pretty good. In terms of steam rail tours, as mentioned, it has 6, just like Melton, for 2025 that is. I haven't looked at this year, maybe it's gotten worse, but past performance is not an indicator of future performance. And in terms of vibes, it kind of does lose a little bit of points here, from my perspective. But, like, it's got Sunshine, it's got Footscray, it's got St Albans, which, from a dodginess perspective, are gonna, result in a worse vibe check. But, at the same time, those 3 suburbs have pretty fucking good food. So, at the end of the day, it's the winner. Did this surprise you? Do you hate my ranking? Comment down below and be as pissed off as you want to be, because engagement is good of any kind.